Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the invitation for this conference. I would like to represent the Polish and Central European point of view of the cohesion policy. At the beginning, let me maybe first address 2 points. We were talking a lot about the European Regional Development Fund. I think we should send thanks to the British government because it was created in the 70s as compensation for the British accession, and Great Britain wanted to decrease its net position towards the EU budget. So,
well, it's not often anybody thanks the British government.
So
I'll on your bank.
We should remember about the origins. Second thing, I have heard about social and fiscal dumping. In one of the reports prepared by the Polish Institute of International Affairs, we were examining, for example, the level of taxation of the private sector, of the companies. So, what's the level of taxation, or the level of CIT, companies' income tax in France? It's around 30%. Everybody was criticizing Ireland, that in Ireland it was 12.5%, and during the negotiation of the aid package for Ireland, there was some pressure from France for Irish government to change it. But do you know what's the lowest rate in the EU? It's in Bulgaria, it's 10%. So why all the companies from Ireland are not moving to Bulgaria? Because of the low tax. Because there are also other reasons important for the companies, like stability of law, of political system, and first of all, infrastructure. And this is something that we are talking about today, infrastructure, which is addressed also by the cohesion policy. And Poland is a country which was some kind of a battlefield for the cohesion policy, because it was the largest recipient of the cohesion fund, and now it's the largest beneficiary of the EU budget in general. So, if we failed with the cohesion policy, the net payers would have many arguments to address that it is not working, so let's maybe nationalize it or whatever. And looking at the Polish example, Poland had started its full-time experience with the EU funds in 2004, 2006 was the first period. And during this period, the absorption of the EU money was around 98%, so it was very high. During the current period, it's about 75% of money which was contracted, but the whole period is still not finished. Everybody is talking today about the economic growth. Is the cohesion policy contributing to the economic growth? Indeed. It's actually, from the economic point of view, it's not easy to examine that, but there were some macroeconomic models created, especially by the DG ECFIN, the European Commission, Quest or Hermin. And these models, it proved that, for example, cohesion policy between 2000 and 2006 contributed to the increase of the growth of the EU 27 in 2009 by 0.6%. Maybe somebody can say, what's 0.6%? It's nothing, but taking into account such a large economic area like EU 25, it's really a lot. And we have to remember that Poland in 2009 was the only country which preserved economic growth when the rest of Europe was in the red colors. And it was also, to a large extent, thanks to the well-invested EU funds in the cohesion policy. Now, for example, in 2011, we are estimating that Polish economic growth was 0.6% higher thanks to the funds from the cohesion policy. But it's not only that Poland and the Central European countries are benefiting from the funds, because some of the analyses of the European Commission are indicating that actually some of the money invested in the cohesion policy and paid to the Central European countries are actually going back to the net payers. For example, there is an analysis about the effects of the cohesion policy for the V4 countries, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Hungary. And in this analysis, it is concluded that every euro spent by the EU 15 countries is bringing back to the net payers more than 16 cents. Why it's like that? Because, for example, when we are building...
Is that 60 or
60.
Yeah,
60 cents. Why it's like that? Because when you are building, for example, a highway in Poland, you have partially the EU funds. You need to get from somewhere technology. Poland is not producing the machines to make the highways, so we need to buy the machines, for example, in Germany or in Ireland, and especially these two countries in this analysis were benefiting from this policy. So, if it's a success story in Poland, or it was in the past in other countries like Ireland, why, for example, it's not a success story in Greece? This is a good question, but we have to remember that EU transfers, it's only a very tiny part of the macroeconomic policy, and the rest of instruments, it relies in the hands of the national governments. And if there is a reasonable economic policy, which is thinking forward, if there is efficient administration which is able to identify and to implement these programs and then to check them, and of course sometimes the other factors like corruptions have a quite important role. In Greece, we can see that all of these 3 points failed. So, how you use this chance, how you make the use of this money, is actually, in the large part, in the hands of the national governments. Today, we are talking a lot about signing a new annex to the Growth Pact, about taxation. These are second-trend subjects. We have already a strategy, EU 2020. We have the instruments, we have the European semester, we have 7 flagship initiatives. It's right really implemented, and the cohesion policy is an important part of this. Thank you very much.